Good evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to Inappropriate Radio. It's your host, Shauna. Let's get into this. So, hi guys. I hope all is well. This evening, we are going to be discussing language as it pertains to our DNA or our genetic code. A lot of times, people may assume that when people speak the same language, they are the same. And this actually may be true in regards to a genetic level when we're speaking in terms of a genetic level. This can't always be applied to particular cultures and different concepts of what a culture may mean. But when you speak the same language, and especially languages that come from the same family, like Latin, we have Spanish, we have Portuguese, we have Italian, we have so many different languages that come from one umbrella. And what that does is it calibrates the actual genetic, vibration. I was looking at a video, and it's actually a book called The Sefer Yetzirah, and you could spell that SEFAR or SEPHAR, Sefer Yetzirah, YETZIRAH. It's actually a Hebrew book, and it speaks about how humankind was created through language. Now, a lot of people are not privy to this information, but vibration is really important. Everything is vibration. A lot of people refer to vibration as energy. Whatever you want to refer to it as, it is important, and it affects us on a genetic, biological level. Now, I know when we start talking about ancient texts and sacred books, we have to consider how many times these books have been translated and actually rewritten. What I find interesting is that a lot of people don't take into account the basis and the premise of these books. I'll use the Bible as an example. If you study the Bible, if you're a Christian, if you're any type of Christian, if you're a Jew, no matter your sect or where you come from geographically, right? I think a lot of people look over the fact that Jesus was a Jew who spoke Aramaic, right? And I talked about this on my Facebook probably about a year ago, just going over how there's so many different conceptions and see how easy it is to tie such a historic story to one set of people when actually that language is pointing to him coming from a totally different culture, similar culture but different, right? And scholars know that. The earlier European settlers knew that, right? And this is why African people, when they were stripped from their native lands, one of the first things that was taken from them was their language, because your language directly ties you to where you come from on a genetic level, right? So a lot of the times we start assuming sorry, I had a little situation, phone call coming in. But yeah, overall, to remember that what connects us, not only a culture or a geographic location, but specifically to the people where you come from. Now, most of the time, we go through this, trying to learn. And I think even for me, like when I apply this, it's really true, because like for me, when I was younger, it was really easy for me to learn Spanish. It was really easy for me to learn languages of people that are closely connected and closely knitted. You have to remember, these cultures these cultures vary and they're spread out. I'll go into this even more. But this is what the point. I'm gonna further the point with this. Some languages can't even be translated. And you'll see that as time goes on, the more you get different dialects of one language, it's just proof of the progression of a culture, but still how true it is to its origin. There are said to be about 8 languages that cannot be translated, and I think it's first because those particular languages go so far back that in order to be translated, you would have to know the family that they come from, right? I think that's number 1. And then number 2, I don't think anyone who existed during those times had considered being able or having to, in any capacity, translate, because the language is so old. It may be outdated, and not like outdated like, nobody's ever using it, but like rare, right? It's really rare. You have to know about 3 or 4 other languages in order to translate that one thing. So in reality, by the time it's translated, it's totally lost its context and it's totally not even related anymore, right? To the original phrase or whatever it is that you're attempting to translate. And I think that's important because once people start paying attention to the things that resonate with them, it'll help them find vibration. You'll be able to better figure out yourself on a genetic level, without a 23andMe, right? Without some diagnostic genetic testing kit, right? I mean an actual consensus and understanding for everything that encompasses what it is that you're gathering or collecting, because most of us don't really have like a real idea on how to pretty much even understand like why some things make sense and why it doesn't make sense. But I'm here to tell you that is a genetic predisposition, right? When you have the ability to code and decode things that are not consistent with your culture or that are pretty much foreign to your culture, I think that says a lot. And even if you refer back to this Sefer Yetzirah, it's just proof. How things have to be translated in order for us to understand it. But if you can understand things in their original context, that would say that you have some type of vibrational match to that culture, to something, right? That has something to do with that region or those people, etc., etc. Now, this can be related to clothing, music, food, not just language, right? Some things, some relics, whatever, are pretty much isolated and connected to particular cultures or particular regions. So when those things are shared by people that are not geographically close, it makes you wonder, like, how do they share these things? Like plantains, rice and beans, saltfish, right? These are items that you can say belong to one culture or another, but in all reality, we really can't say there's a particular region where these things originated. All we know is that they're common, amongst all these different places and cultures and sets of people. So it's really important to just keep that in mind. The things that you resonate with, are attached to you on a biological level, on levels that you may not even, particularly understand. Now, one thing I do want to go over before we close this thing out is just being able to recognize, when something is yours, when something is a part of you. And I think that is what integrates people, who speak the same language. Let's use French, right, as an example. French is just French, right? The French people, they went over to the island of Hispaniola. They captured the people, took over their land, took their sugar cane, took their rice, took their resources, and enslaved the people, and then signed them into a treaty that even to today keeps them in bondage financially, emotionally, and mentally, right? Now, in order to make a connection with people who look like them but were independent of the French people, Creole came into play. And if you look at it, not just anyone can speak Creole. I mean, it's difficult to learn, right? Number one. And number two, a Haitian is not just going to teach you Creole because they like you, right? You have to have gone through the rites of passage, i.e. be Haitian. And even then, not every Haitian person can speak Creole. Now, understanding is one thing. And what I find even more interesting is that most Haitian people speaks and understands Creole. I mean, Spanish. But Spanish people don't even know how to start to understand Creole, right? Dominican people in particular, because this island is shared by both Haitian and Dominican people. So I'm just using this as an example of how language connects you directly to people, and it is a telling story of your genetic code, where you come from, where your lineage can be traced to. So I'm going to challenge you guys to start learning. Me, myself, I'm trying to encourage people to learn Spanish, even if it's just one word a day. I think that is a good way to start learning. If you want to learn phrases, if you want to learn just words by themselves, if you want to learn colors, whatever, learn something on a daily basis. Educate yourself. Me, myself, I'm working on Mandarin, Arabic, and probably Punjabi. I'm gonna try to see some Indian languages, but I think Punjabi will be okay. I was just actually trying to find the universal Indian language. I think Hindu is the more appropriate, but I'm so enthralled in the Punjabi culture. I love it. And me going vegan was one of the ways that I actually learned more about the Punjabi culture, because the Punjabi diet is mainly that of a vegan. So there's not a lot of dairy. There's not a lot of meat. There is, but not much. Not like the American diet. Not a lot of bread. Just really mainly comprised of like herbs and things that are really, really good for the body. Also the Asian culture, not just Chinese, but the Asian culture as a whole. So yeah, I think it's really important for us to start paying attention to the things that resonate with us, particularly language. The language, the words you speak, is a direct correlation to your genetic sequence and code. So even the things that come out of your mouth can alter your genetics, right? Like English is said to be a spell, a cursed language. I'm not going to agree or disagree, but what I will say is that I think it's really interesting that in the beginning of this cycle, or let's say the end of one cycle and the beginning of a new cycle, that Spanish is kind of like taking over the world. And this is how it was back then. You had to know English to trade, but you had to know Spanish to live. So yeah, I wanted to say that. And I love you guys. I hope all is well. I hope your week was great. I hope you're going to eat some fish tonight because that's what we eat on Fridays. All right. I love y'all. And I hope y'all enjoy your weekend. All right. Drink your water, eat your fruit, eat your vegetables, get your rest. Pass the test. Okay? And sip your tea because what? All right. I love y'all. Peace.